for Dave Blaney. The only two-time winner in the Sprint Car World Series goes up against many gunslingers and opponents, including the man they call the King of the Outlaws. Winless yet in Phoenix. Can he pull off the big score tonight? '50 Sprint Car World Series. It may sound redundant, but for the 5th week in a row, it's a beautiful day for racing here in the Pacific Southwest. Unlike the frozen north we escaped just yesterday. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Joy. What a great lineup of sprint car talent we have here tonight for the 5th of 10 weeks out here at Phoenix, Arizona. The point standings, well, it's a who's who of sprint car racing. Sammy Swindell tops the list. Dave Blaney, two-time winner. Steve Kinser, Mark Kinser, Danny Lasowski, the top 5. And right behind them, Stevie Smith, opening night winner Jack Haudenschild, Kenny Jacobs, Andy Hillenberg, and Rocky Hodges. Joining me again for tonight's telecast, he escaped from the blizzard in Boston, the editor of Open Wheel magazine, Dick Berggren. Dave Blaney, what a tear he's been on.
Boy, he has, Mike. The last 2 weeks, he has absolutely dominated here. Last week, no one could even get near Blaney, but it won't be quite so easy tonight. Now, Dave Blaney's okay, but what a wild ride he took in his qualifying heat. End over end, out of the place, and into the junkyard off the 3rd corner. Well, they retrieved the car, they brought it into the pits, and he's going to try to qualify what's left of it.
He is okay. It was a wild ride. They rolled it back after they brought it back into the ballpark. So Blaney will be looking for number 3. And Jeff Swindell, who almost drove that same car to victory here earlier in the series. Steve Kinser, the man's won everywhere on earth in a sprint car, except here.
Well, there's been a little bit of a change here. The draw positions he hasn't been so lucky on. He started back in the back of the packs on the draw. He hasn't been able to start up in front of the feature. Normally you say Steve Kinser can come from the rear. It's been real tough. He's had a lot of problems. He took a rock to the head on one of the weeks. The next week he come back, he took a big boulder to the arm, about knocked his arm out of the car, and he didn't get to use it well. He's had a lot of bad luck. The car hasn't really been real fast, but I'd say Steve's coming back strong.
So it is surprising that here we enter week 5, and the man everybody thought would dominate most of this series has yet to see victory lane. Let's go down trackside then and meet the 4th member of our broadcast team. Ralph Shaheen is with Steve Kinser.
In order to get yourself to victory circle, you have to always be thinking ahead. How's the car? How's the racetrack going to be next week? Steve Kinser, what have you done to this car to get you to victory lane here tonight?
Well, you know, the only thing we've done is everybody got here early. We put a different motor in a thing, and you know, we just haven't been running very good, just to be honest with you. So let's just hope we pick a pace up and run a little better today.
Now, you had an opportunity to go test the stock car down at Daytona. Are we going to see you in a Winston Cup car at the Daytona 500 this coming February?
Well, I don't think so. I was just down doing a little testing and seeing what I thought of it. And, you know, I was lucky enough that Jack Roush and Valvoline gave me the opportunity to go down and run the test for a couple days and had a good time doing it and sort of got a feel for the track. And you know, I want to thank Jack Roush and Valvoline and NASCAR for the opportunity to do that. You know, it's a real professional group down here, and I'd like to maybe have the chance one of these days to go down and run, and you know, you got to get there and sort of you know, get your feet wet a little bit and make some laps, and you know, you got to have good race teams no matter what kind of racing you're in to go down there. You know, you're just not going to jump into somebody else's sport and walk in there and start running up front. That's just not going to happen. Those guys have been at it too long and they're too good at what they're doing. And you know, I feel like nobody's going to get in my sport and however and outrun me real bad. But it seems like they've been doing it pretty good out here. But maybe we can try to make a change of that today. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
He sounds pretty humble about that stock car effort, Mike. He did turn laps well up into the 180-mile-an-hour range, but tonight it's sprint cars and maybe a win for Steve Kinser.
Well, for those of you that are still shoveling up north, we can tell you that it's 56 degrees, 42% humidity, only a 3-mile-an-hour wind, and the forecast mostly clear. To think that at this hour yesterday, Ted Walters was driving the plow and I was shoveling up in the driveway of my house, and Dick, you were trying to keep the ocean from taking your house away.
Yeah, I was picking seaweed off my roof.
Oh, jeez. Good to be here in Phoenix. Qualifying heat number 3 of 4 is on the racetrack right now. Rocky Hodges out of Danville, Indiana, will start his U2 on the pole. Jerry Coons Jr. from Tucson, the 12A, will be outside. Row number 2, Steve Beitler in a new ride. That's the 1M. the Hamburglar car, Calvin Landis in number 70. Aaron Berryhill will be carrying our in-car camera in car number 97B from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Danny Wood, the 7X from Norman, Oklahoma. In row number 4, number 63 is Mike English from California. Ricky Hood from Indiana in the 7. Row 5, Kevin Huntley driving 29W out of Indiana, and Danny Lasowski, number 5 point man from Missouri in car 5. Gary Cameron the 2nd with that number 3C out of Indianapolis. Black car at the tail end of the field. That's the 11 cars that'll be looking for the 5 transfer spots. There's a look at Berryhill and the view that he'll give you on the right side of the roll cage. That's where that camera is mounted, as he'll roll off from 5th position on the start.
Yeah, Berryhill's been running really good here lately, too, so I'm kind of anxious to see what he's going to do here tonight.
5 cars qualify out of this event. Got 2 heats go already. 20 will come out of the heats, 4 out of the B main, otherwise known as the consolation event.
And we'll show you some highlights and a low light or 2 from those heats a little bit later on.
Kevin Huntley, he is the all-star champion. That's number 5, Danny Lasowski.
11 cars. 11 cars, 5 transfer spots. Up at turn number 3, you will see where the wall was. Right there, before Dave Blaney got up and over it.
Looks like somebody did some dental work on that wall, didn't it, Mike?
But that car should run in the B main tonight. Green flag.
Upside down, and it is Kevin Huntley.
Yeah, it is Kevin Huntley. That's the Bob Weichert car. That was only the 2nd week in that car. It was brand new last week. He's moving around in the car. He's okay.
That car is tore up, too.
It's tore up bad.
Gary Cameron's involved in that as well, but look at the left rear is down. Both wings are a mess. The front end's all askew. Huntley is okay. There's Gary Cameron's car that started scratch and got involved in that.
His doesn't look too bad.
No, Huntley's really going to have to do some work if he's going to even get back here through the B main event. That thing is really torn up. Let's take a look at it again. You can see them in the right in the middle of the pack. Yeah, the right side of your screen is number 29 with the red numbers on the wing. Almost all the way in the back of the pack. The 2 last cars are going to get into it, and here it goes. Boom.
Steve Beitler never got on the gas. The car did not take off. Everybody piled up on top of each other.
And Mike English, that red number 63, was the meat in the sandwich.
Yeah, he was. He was the launching ramp is what he was. Huntley's a good racer. He's a very good racer. He managed to win the All-Star Championship by only 4 points. He won it in the very last race. He's not going to win any points championships this way, unfortunately.
I should say it's Mike English in 63. Mike English. There's a look at Kevin Huntley's car as they try to recover that. So quickly we're under caution. Rocky Hodges got a good jump.
Yeah, he did. Rocky Hodges has had a good time here so far in this series. He is the guy we have talked about the most who has not won. And while we've talked a lot about some of the heavily sponsored cars, Hodges' car is sponsored by United Express Lines. That's his car owner.
And that's the car that will start on the pole. Let's go down to Ralph Shaheen.
Kevin, what happened out there? Can you tell us?
All on the start, Gary shot underneath me, and when he did, he kind of hit the car right in front of me and turned him sideways, and I just got over his right rear tire.
Yeah, you had a quick look at the car. Do you think you can get it fixed and back into the B?
No, it's hurt pretty bad.
There you can see the red car that just didn't get going as Gary Cameron, the black car, number 3.
Yeah, I guess they've had some motor problems with that car all day today. Bringing out a second car to run as under the McDonald's banner, and evidently they've just not gotten that car back right. And right now it is in the pits.
11 cars started this race. This one at least, eliminated in its opening crash. There's a look at Jerry Coons, outside pole man to Rocky Hodges. And as they remove that car from turn number 4, we'll take this pause. Little rock. Tonight's exclusive TNN coverage of the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series is brought to you from Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix. Getting set to restart heat number 3. Let's show you again what happened on the start. There they are bunched up, and Huntley is that 29 car toward the right half of your screen. But watch how that McDonald's car, the 1 car, just doesn't get going. Number 3 and 29 run over English, 63, and it's Huntley that goes for the big tumble.
Yeah, each one of them tried to go, one tried to go around the outside, one tried to go around the inside and couldn't get away from the 63 car fast enough because he was blocked in by Beitler's car when it didn't accelerate.
English has gone to the pits. He's back on the racetrack. He is starting in last position. We're getting ready for a start.
And Beitler has not returned to the speedway.
No.
So he'll be headed for the B main if they can get that car repaired.
He's probably off having a burger.
They are underneath the hood of that car trying to get that motor situated, though.
So 9 cars will contest 5 transfer spots to the main event. Green flag is on. And again, Rocky Hodges from the pole in the U2 dives into turn 1 with the lead.
Berryhill blasts into second, too. Has a little problem getting up over the berm there, loses a lot of time. Rocky Hodges stretches her out.
Here comes Lasowski on the inside, flying down the backstretch and up into third spot.
And second and third, Berryhill is in the 97. He is second. Third is Lasowski. Good race here.
Jerry Coons trying to hold off the 7X of Danny Wood without success. And battle back in the transfer spot, 5th position. 5th right now, hold down by Coons, with Ricky Hood closing in.
It's the ride for Berryhill's car. You're in second position right now going down the backstretch. That's the leader right in front of you. Rough racetrack tonight. Yeah, the first turn.
Up at second place.
It looked like Lasowski was going to catch up on Berryhill there when Berryhill had the problems there on the first lap, but Berryhill's got the car smoothed out now. He's got a nice steady line going with the thing, so I think he's going to hold on to second unless something drastic changes.
Berryhill is the World of Outlaws Rookie of the Year this year, and I'll tell you what, he has driven some terrific racing here. Been very, very aggressive. Here's your leader, Rocky Hodges. Scored third position last week. Car maintained by Dwight Peachy.
And he's out of the gas. The thing's smoking real bad, and it looks like he's going to be out of the picture.
He's had it.
So Berryhill goes past into the lead. Berryhill up front. Lasowski is second. Wood is third. And there's Aaron Berryhill up front. Put Lasowski second. With 1 lap to go, Jerry Coons in third. Danny Wood, Ricky Hood in the number 7 in the transfer spot.
Berryhill has never won a World of Outlaw feature, but he will have a terrific starting position tonight and a good opportunity to do so.
He will go right to the second row inside, I do believe, for the feature tonight. And he has really been fast, so he's got a good shot at it tonight.
Aaron Berryhill takes down the checkered flag for qualifying heat number 3. And you're along for the ride.
Yeah, nice to win the race, isn't it?
Yeah.
First race on television tonight, we won it.
There's a look at Danny Lasowski, the second place finisher out of Missouri.
That's got to make him happy. Last week he wound up in the B main. The B main got shortened. Lasowski didn't even make the A feature. They were walking around with long faces here this morning. They won't have such long faces tonight.
Well, that's what you go back to that old luck thing, you know. It'll bite you sometimes, but sometimes it'll help you out a lot.
Look at the draw. The way this works, when the drivers first come in, they each pull a pill. It's kind of a little round ball. It's got a number in it. The guy who draws number 1, he starts on the pole of the first heat. The guy who draws number 2 starts on the pole of the second heat, and so forth.
So Berryhill is the winner. Lasowski, the Wood, Hood, and Landis. Here tonight in Phoenix, put a pretty good crowd on hand at Manzanita Speedway. Go Sammy. As the cars for the 4th heater on the track, quickly, let's go to Ralph.
Well, you know, Mike, sometimes something new will help you get to victory circle. Aaron Berryhill was sporting this new driver suit that helped him get to the win of this heat race. But take a look at this over here. This is a brand new Hoosier tire. Everybody's been over here taking a look at it. Aaron Berryhill, was that the difference that got you to victory lane, that new Hoosier?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're just now trying these things out with the Hoosier people, and the car feels really good. It's biting real well. You know, the track conditions are a little slick tonight, and it's turning out for the better so far. Hot laps were a little bit off on them because we're not sure how to use them, but the more we learn about them, the better they're getting.
How different is that tire from something else we'll see here tonight?
Well, I think a majority of them will be running Goodyears, and you know, a couple of them will be running McCurry's, but you know, like I said, this is new for us, and we're just trying it out.
Mike, the rumor is it's a synthetic rubber instead of a natural rubber. Now, Jeff Swindell, how different is the synthetic rubber from a natural rubber?
Well, it wears a lot different normally. Normally, the synthetic doesn't wear quite as bad. It'll tear more when you get too soft a compound on the tire, but it's just a different preference in the way Hoosier does it over Goodyear or McCreary.
Results of that third qualifying heat you just saw. Aaron Berryhill, the winner. Danny Lasowski, second. Danny Wood, third. Ricky Hood, fourth. And Calvin Landis moved up into the fifth spot. Those cars will transfer directly to the main event. Everybody else goes to the B main or consolation event. We move to qualifying heat number 4.
This is the best heat of the night, Mike. I think good lineup of cars in this race.
Star-studded, that's for sure.
Sure is.
Looks like it should be.
Big crowd on hand here at Manzanita tonight, and a lot of them got in cheap. Nothing. No, it's all very legit. On the Sprints for Santa program, if you come here with a non-perishable food item to Manzanita Speedway next Sunday for round 6 of the series, you get $5 off the admission. And folks have been coming in here. They didn't have to bring the food all the way from Canada or from Massachusetts or wherever they're from, but you stop by and bring something in, and that'll help a needy cause, and also it'll help your pocketbook too if you're coming out to see the Sprint Car World Series. Ralph?
Mike, Rocky, what was it that put it to you at the end of that heat?
Oh, the United Express was running good, but it seems like we might have burned a piston. We might have been running a little bit too lean. The air is real good out here, and it evidently just wasn't getting quite enough fuel.
Is it a fixable problem, you think, to get you back into the B and give you a good shot at the A?
No, we're going to have to change the motor. It actually burned a hole in the piston is what the smoke was, and that's what happened. So we're out for this week. We're going to have to hope and come back next week. And, you know, the race car was so good out there. The racetrack is excellent. My race car was perfect, and it's just unfortunate that that happened to happen, but it did.
Tough break for Hodges as he'll head home early tonight. Let's take a look at the lineup for this 4th qualifying heat. Bobby Markham from Tucson on the pole. Craig Keel from Wheatsport, New York on the outside. This is by the draw. Sammy Swindell from Tennessee. His number 1 in the second row was Stevie Smith from Pennsylvania. In row number 3, Rod Henderson out of South Dakota. Steve Kinzer, can he finally put it together here tonight? In row 3, Bobby Allen, Scruffy from Pennsylvania. In row 4 with Brett Anthill from Iowa. Gary Lee Meyer from Kansas, and Johnny Herrera back with us from New Mexico. Dale Loxo from California drew the 11th starting spot. That's how they'll go to post, looking for the 5 qualified positions in Heat 4. In-car camera, Johnny Herrera. And there it is. Good look back at him. Man in his office, hard at work.
Getting ready to go hard at work anyway. This is the nerve-wracking part, is waiting on the start.
See the sternum latch there just above the adjusters for that shoulder harness. Got a Simpson, got all his tear-offs there flapping, ready to go. Set to go.
Yeah, you can see the helmet pad on the right side of his helmet there. The new chest buckle is a new thing that came from the NASCAR portion of it. The car's really doing a lot of shaking around is what it looks like right now, but once you get up to speed, the thing will smooth out a lot, and the ride gets much more comfortable or exciting.
Or both.
Or both.
Ready to go. Second qualifying heat. They're on the pedal. We are under green.
Stevie Smith really tried to get out there around Keel and almost did it, and he does it going into 1. Keel comes back.
Everybody went around Markham right there at the start. Markham went from the pole to the middle of the pack, and look at Steve Kinzer come. He's on the right side of your screen, on the inside. Whoa! He has just gone under Stevie Smith. Kinzer running hard.
He is a man possessed tonight. I think he is out to determine that he is still here.
Now, this looks like an outlaw show. Steve and Sammy, nose to tail.
Yeah,
Stevie Smith right with him.
Sammy had a little bit of problems, but Steve really got a nice start, and the car is running fast tonight. That is Steve Kinzer as of usual.
He certainly is going to look for this win. There's Sammy Swindell currently running in 3rd spot. Kinzer wants to win. That'll put him up in the front for starting, and that's what he wants to do. Start the feature in the front.
Winner of this heat gets the outside pole for the feature.
Sammy's not going to let him get away either. Sammy is coming back on him, and I thought it looked like Steve was going to catch Keel, but I tell you, Keel is on a low budget, owns his own deal, and he does one heck of a job. Sometimes he'll sneak in there and win races and set fast times out of nowhere.
Yeah, this could be the drive of the night. Craig Keel, the leader. Here's a look at Johnny Herrera, working hard.
right behind him. Stevie's trying to get back up there by him and makes a dive underneath him, but can't quite pull it off. Track's starting to slick up pretty good from the middle to the bottom.
There's Johnny Herrera. We're going to take a lap with him.
Well, you can notice that you really don't have to work quite as much. You'll see the wheels darting back and forth a lot, but you don't have to do a whole lot with the wheels. The driver sits there and patiently moves the wheel. It's got real quick response, and the wheels will bobble back and forth is what you see a lot of times, but it's not that hard.
Used to be brute force to drive these things. Now it looks like a lot more feel and a lot more being subjective with it. White flag.
I think Keel's going to win this thing.
And wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, a real underdog.
To go home to New York saying that you ran out front and you beat Steve Kinser and Sammy Swindell heads up. Here comes Keel off turn number 4. Final time, checkered flag, he wins it. Kinser about 10 lengths back. Swindell, Herrera, and Stevie Smith.
And Gary Leemeyer.
Well, Craig Keel, I'll tell you now, there's a name that even at the top of tonight, running down all that list of stars we gave you at the top of the point standings, would you say that Craig Keel will go to victory lane tonight?
Well, I figured he had a good possibility because Craig, when you put him up on the front, he's real hard to pass because he gets fast a lot of times. And sometimes he can drive away from you real fast. And when he does, when you can do that to Sammy and Steve, then you've done something. Here's Herrera inside the cockpit.
4th place finisher.
4th place. Yeah.
Not that Keel is such an underdog, but it's just that this series has been so tough, and with the draw starts, so unpredictable. So great run for Craig Keel. Keel beating Kinser, Swindell, Herrera, and Stevie Smith compared to most of the country this weekend.
Yeah, and it's cold for Phoenix.
Yeah, it is. About 54 degrees right now. The sun's setting over Manzanita Speedway, just southwest of Phoenix. We're here for 5 more weeks with the Sprint Car World Series. We'll take Christmas weekend off, but otherwise, come out and see us. Let's have another look at the start of this heat event and what happened that propelled Steve Kinser up toward the front there. See Kinser on the outside left side of your screen. And that blue Valvoline 11.
Problem here is Markham, the white car in the middle, just got off to a bad start. And as he did, people got him on the right, they got him on the left, and Kinser took the best advantage of anybody.
Yeah, going into 1 here, 3 cars, everybody tries to pile on the bottom. Kinser goes around the outside and just makes an immaculate move.
It's like getting in the right line at the toll booth, isn't it? Sort of a deal like that.
Exactly. Only in Massachusetts and New Hampshire would you know about that, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's go down with a man who's going to have some money to pay the tolls with Ralph.
Craig Keel, was this win for you due to this racetrack turning towards your style, or was it just a draw that you got tonight?
Well, the draw helped an awful lot. There's a lot of good cars here, and when you can start in front of them, it makes it a lot easier. I think I still would have done pretty well because the track's my type of track. It's dry and slick, and it's fast, but it's smooth, and I much prefer a dry, slick, smooth track than a rough and sticky one.
As you mentioned earlier, Jeff Swindell, he's going to have that kind of racetrack coming up later, but we wanted to point out something on his tires. He's running McCrary's, and when we talk about low-budget operations, the left rear here, this tire's got 3 races on it. The front tires each have 5 races on it. He's run these ever since he's been here. The only tire that's new on this car is the right rear.
Well, I tell you, the Keel group can get every bit of anything they use out of it. They don't throw away anything if it's still halfway good.
Tires are very important here, and many of the top teams will throw tire after tire on these cars, and to run with used tires puts you at a real disadvantage, but the low-dollar teams have to do that.
Yes, sometimes it really does hurt you, but sometimes you can get away with it. If you got the car just right and you use the right tire, sometimes an old tire is more what we call a cured tire. It won't tear up quite as fast as a fresh one, so sometimes a used tire is better.
And obviously Craig Keel found a way to make it work as he wins the 4th qualifying heat. Steve Kinser finishing 2nd, Sammy Swindell 3rd, Johnny Herrera 4th, and Stevie Smith 5th. Now they'll all go to the feature, but they'll each be separated by 4 spots in the feature event. At the end of that event, look at Johnny Herrera. He is, yeah, I can't see anything hardly. He looks like he's smothered in oil.
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from. We're going to have to send him down there and see what happened. But when that does that, a lot of times it'll get in between your tear-offs, and you can pull a tear-off and it still can't see.
Well, let's find out. Ralph Herrera is making his way to Johnny Herrera's pit. We'll be there in a moment. You're watching them push cars off for what they call the B main in the World of Outlaws, and this event is run under the auspices of the World Outlaws. Victories here count as World of Outlaws wins, although since this series came up late in the season, it does not count toward their point championship. Let's get out of the pits.
Steve, now you got the bonnet coming off the car. Any problems?
It's just some of the knocks, some of the front of the fiberglass loads on the hood, but no problems. Everything's okay.
Seemed to be a little bit more of the classic Steve Kinser in that last heat. Things starting to turn around?
Well, the car didn't feel, but it's probably about as good as it's felt so far. So we'll just we'll see if we can turn it around. That's all we can do. We'll let you know a little later.
I'd call it cautious optimism.
Yeah, he keeps getting hit with things. He's gotten hit in the helmet, he's gotten hit in the arm, and now his car is taking a hit. And I walked this racetrack after he got hit in the eye the first time, and I couldn't find anything out there. I don't know how all these rocks and things are finding Steve Kinser. He's a magnet for stuff, I guess.
Well, a lot of times these guys will run across the infield, and I've done that myself a few times, but you get in a situation, you run across the infield, you get dry clods where they had graded the track, it'll throw it back on the track, and that sometimes will get you.
And there's, there it is. It runs. It runs.
That's Dave Blaney. That's the car that in the open of the show you saw flipping into the junkyard. They put a new nose wing on it, a new top wing, and Dave Blaney's suited up, ready to go again.
Boy, that car has been tortured out here, has it not? I tried to tear it up a few weeks ago, and then Dave tried to tear it up tonight, and they've got it back together.
You saw the flip at the top of the show, and boy, it's back and running. Those of you that have followed this series know we've been trying to do bodily harm each week to Ralph Shaheen. Where'd we send him this week?
Gunfights were a big part of the Old West, and as you know, gunfights have been outlawed. We thought it might be kind of fun, though, to get some of our friends from the sprint car group together and have a little game of paintball. Wait a minute, I think I see Swindell. Free! Shooter's World is an outdoor enthusiast dream store that has its own indoor paintball facility. It never ceases to amaze me where a sponsor logo will show up. Don't worry about the gear, they have everything you need, from guns to paintball ammo. They even have a shooting range to warm up on. Each gun can hold over 50 rounds. Splat. Paintball. 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 As the green flag drops, the field scrambles for position. Just like in racing, concentration and a steady hand can determine how long you're in the game. Check it out, a Swindell in the crosshairs. I bet this is the only time Steve Kinser would want to trade places with me. For Sammy Swindell's crew chief, Kelly Pryor, rolling around in the dirt is just like another day at the office. When you get hit, you're temporarily out of the game, as was the case with our producer, Mark Gleckel. Like any good broadcaster, I always do what my producer tells me, but look where it got me this time. It's important to know when to be aggressive and on the gas, and when to lift and retreat. Watch closely. Jeff Swindell's about to perform one of his patented rollovers. But with great teamwork, Jeff bounced back to claim the win. That's it.
Oh, boy. I wonder if Simpson knows he's providing the helmets for those deals.
Well, actually, we had a couple of the Simpson guys were there with us.
Well, you can see Ralph is still in one piece, paint and all.
You know, the one thing you learn about paintball is who your friends are. Now, this is my former friend, Guy Forbrick, and the reason why I call him former is because he cheats at paintball. Now, he doesn't cheat at racing, but he does cheat at paintball. He took a cheap shot, Forbrick. I told you I'd get back at you. This is it, pal. And normally I would let a crew chief talk to me, but since, as I said, I will get the last word. No, that's it. No talking for you, Guy Forbrick. But it was a lot of fun out there, and the guys had a great time, and it was just, if you've never done it, it is really, truly an experience.
Really was a blast, I'll tell you. And the best part about it was I got to shoot the producer and Ralph all within about 5 seconds of each other. Took them both right out of the game.
Now I wish I'd been there. Don't worry, we have lots more ways to try to injure Ralph as the weeks go on. We're going to send him barstool racing next week, I think. We're going to send you to a commission event, or B Main is ready to roll. 4 cars will transfer to the main event. There are 23 scheduled starters. This one will go 12 laps. Dale Blaney from Ohio starts on the pole in the 7 TW, opposite Gary Lee Meyer from Kansas. Row number 2, the 3C, Gary Cameron from Indiana, Bill Liebig from Arizona in 10A. Gerald Slinkard from Mesa in the 55, Rod Henderson from South Dakota, the D1, Mike English from California in 63, Mike Archuleta of Las Cruces in the A1X. Kevin Pilot of Santa Cruz, Dale Loxo, also from California. In row 6, Jerry Coons from Tucson and Chad Mellenburn from South Dakota. Troy Klein from California and Brent Antill from Iowa in row 7. Jeff Slinkard from Mesa and Dave Blaney back in row number 8. In row 9, Bobby Markham from Tucson, and Steve Beitler's car has been scratched with fuel system problems. In row 10, Joey Allen from Pennsylvania, Ricky Lee Tankersley from Texas. In row 11, Bobby Allen, who crashed right on the start of his heat race out of Pennsylvania. Kevin Huntley, whose car flipped in that third heat, has scratched. Mike Kirby will go to post in the shotgun position.
Dave Blaney, starting all the way back in 16th spot, has got to pass a car every lap and one more just to make this feature. He won the last 2 weeks in a row. There's Blaney in the number 10 in the center of your screen. Boy, he's a long ways back. His brother is on the pole.
But I'd say if there's a car in the field that can do it, that Ford can.
You've driven it, you would know.
We're all about
I
it
have
right now.
driven a Ford lately.
Yeah. Just not out of the park. There's the hole in the fence.
Ooh.
And looking for green. Green is on.
Gary Lee Meyer jumped out to a nice, comfortable lead.
Meyer from the outside pole. Getting out front. This goes 12 laps. Here's Blaney moving up through. He is ticking them off.
Yeah, 9th, 8th.
Past
Blaney
Kevin
is flying.
Pilot was passing cars left and right. Blaney went around him.
Both cars quickly coming to the front.
Blaney gets Slinkard.
Blaney on the inside. Now moving up on Troy Klein. He is 8th. He needs to be 4th.
That makes him 6th.
6th now.
And I'd say this lap he will be in 5th.
Moving up on his brother there.
No, that's
Check that.
who is that? That is the one.
He's in 5th now.
Mike Archuleta was
There
that.
you go.
He's now up to 5th. One more spot will put Blaney in the field for tonight's main event.
And he's closing on Cameron pretty fast.
His brother is in 2nd spot. Gary Lee Meyer is your leader.
Then Rod Henderson, Cameron, and Blaney. Here's Gary Lee Meyer out of Dodge City.
He is really becoming a good sprint car driver.
38 feature wins last year, 45 the year before. Here's the fight for 4th right here. Gary Cameron in the 3C. Blaney in the number 10 car. One of those cars will go to the main event. The other one will go to the trailer.
Blaney had some problems that last time coming off before there. He got in the wrong spot, lost a lot of time on Cameron. But I don't think he's going to pull this one off either. Cameron just had the right line.
Last 2 weeks, Blaney has been running this racetrack wide open all the way around. He is not even using the brake to set the car, and boom, he has gotten Cameron easy as can be. Going into 1, takes him out of 2, and now he's setting off after his brother.
And you saw Cameron slide up over the cushion there. Sometimes when you have to get out of the throttle like that, it makes the car real loose, and you lose your drive from where you were standing. Gary Lee still just driving with this field.
Gary Lee Meyer out in front. Dale Blaney is 2nd. Rod Henderson is 3rd. And Dave Blaney now on the bubble. 3 laps to go. Meyer in a lot of lap traffic. As we said, 23 cars scheduled. 21 actually started this event.
And getting into a lot of lap traffic right now. Gary seems to be working it real well. He's hitting them at the right spot. Sometimes you want to back up just a little bit on the straightaway to catch him in the right spot in the corners. And
Gary Cameron just dropped down.
Now Cameron was the first 5th place car.
Gary Lee now has about a half a straightaway lead.
That's Meyer, the red car, running high.
Just a little too high that time. He lost a lot of ground on that corner.
But he's still in position to win this thing. You should see the white as they come by.
That's really good right there. When that car come off, the cushion come down to the bottom like that, it's working really well. Last lap.
Meyer over Dale Blaney, Rod Henderson, and Dave Blaney.
Dave Blaney is going by Dale for second right here, and there's traffic all in front of him. Who's going to win this one? Dale is going to come around the outside. And Pilot spins it. Almost.
Yeah, Kevin Pilot lost it coming off the fourth corner. There's your winner, Gary Lee Meyer, Dodge City, Kansas, 32 years old, did a nice job in that race. Started in the outside front row, came home the winner.
So Meyer moves up to the 21st starting spot in the main event tonight. This 24-car field. Let's have a look again at the finish on that last lap.
I wonder if these guys weren't brothers, if Dave Blaney would have moved up at about that point.
Oh,
yeah, you can see it.
Bye, Kevin.
Dave kind of turned him around there just a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah. And it's Pilot that Blaney went over in order to start his catapult out of the place earlier. So
That's
he's
right.
booted the back end of that car twice. He's gotten 2 good looks at the back bumper.
2 for 2 there.
There's your winner.
Yeah, Gary was my teammate back at Knoxville Nationals this year. He drove our second car.
Speaking of teammates, I'd like to thank Larry Neuber for sitting in here last week. Doing a fine job with the play-by-play.
Yes, he did.
As Gary Lee Meyer will transfer to the main event, along with the Blaney brothers and Rod Henderson. Picked up the 4th spot. Ralph is there.
Gary Lee Meyer climbing out of the car now, and we almost knocked his helmet off the backside there. Gary, as you can see, there's a lot of dust kicking up around here. How bad is it out on the racetrack with the dust tonight?
Well, you know, it's getting real slick, you know, and it's hard to pass on, and so, you know, you hope you can start up front, but I don't get to the way it is, but it's real slick, and it's actually, you got to run around the top, and then I think the bottom will come in, and it'll be faster on the bottom.
With that knowledge, and that's one of the advantages of being a B-main guy, is you get to see the racetrack at the last possible minute. How will you set this car up for that type of surface?
Well, you know, we'll change right rear tires and probably change left rear tires and some shocks, and then we'll go from there.
You went up real high with 2 laps to go. Did something go wrong with the car?
No, I was just trying it, and it's getting, the cushion gets so far around that it's getting, there ain't much of a cushion, it's just getting real slick.
So Gary Lee Meyer will head up the group of 4 cars that will transfer to the main event tonight from the B main, and a lot of cars go home. Big field here tonight. There's a look at the finish. Mike Archuleta will be the alternate to Meyer, the Blaneys, and Henderson. So down to the pit area, they're preparing for tonight's feature event under the stars here at Manzanita. We'll be right back. Phoenix, Arizona, Manzanita Speedway. I'm Mike Joy with Dick Berggren and Jeff Swindell topside to call tonight's action. We've seen 87 drivers from 19 states in these first 5 rounds of the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series. You've seen 2 of the 4 qualifying heats. We'll show you some highlights from the first 2 heat action. Qualifying heat number 1, 12 cars went to post looking for the 5 transfer spots. Here they come down for the start. The black number 2 on the pole is Andy Hillenberg. Jeff Slinker is the car alongside as they get the green.
And Hodenshaw got a really good start on that time. He started back in the back, but he got by a couple of the rows before they ever even come off the 4.
That's the yellow car, Jack Hodenshaw, out of Ohio in the Pennzoil number 22. Now going to work on the bottom side against Greg Hodnett.
Puts him down pretty quick.
And now Jeff Slinker, the second place car.
Jack really has been fast here at every one of the races.
A little bit of trouble there for Slinker.
I think he saw Hodenshaw go by so fast, he just didn't know what happened.
Hillenberg up front.
Yeah, Andy just took off from this field and just continued to drive away. Hodenshaw had to pass all the other cars, so it gave Andy a big lead on the start. So it was really hard to catch up with Andy.
Here's the separation. Coming up toward halfway in this event, you see Hillenberg, Hodenshaw, Greg Hodnett in the 4A out of Memphis. He's the third place car. A little further back, Marty Wilcox in that red number 3 out of Phoenix, trying to hold on for 5th qualified spot. He'll battle with Jerry Stone in 24. Stone's going to pull on up. At this time, it's the battle for 4th place. So Stone goes up to 4th. And Wilcox holds on to the 5th position there. Hillenberg ran off and hid for Haudenschild and the rest of this field to win the first qualifying heat. Hillenberg the winner. Haudenschild second, Hodden at third, Stone fourth, and Wilcox fifth, just the way you saw them. They ran that way to the checkered flag. Qualifying heat number 2 was a little more exciting. Watch on the start. Right smack in the middle of your screen, you'll see Dave Blaney catch a wheel and go out of the park. Home run derby. The car landed unscathed, but for the wing damage between 2 locked fences. Took about 40 minutes to extricate it. They actually brought it back through the fence and then took it around to the pits on its wheel, slapped a couple of wings on it, got them ready to go again.
Exactly. That wasn't the original start. That was one of the restarts later in the race. Once they finally got it going.
Here's the restart. Randy Tyner is your leader here. Tyner in that black car.
And he's got Kenny Jacobs in the yellow 71 with him. And for a while, we thought Jacobs would win this heat.
Terry McCarl really seemed to turn that around a little bit.
Yeah, McCarl will be in the 27 car. Here you're watching Tyner and Jacobs. Here comes McCarl.
Cost him just a little bit of time coming off the 4 there. When Jacobs moved up, I think he had to get out of the throttle just a hair. But he's coming back strong on Jacobs. Up in the cushion real nice. Jacobs is right in the middle of the slick part. So he's definitely a lot faster than Jacobs is.
This is nice stuff. He's all over Jacobs, not hitting him in any way, giving him all the room in the world.
And McCarl continues to put the pressure on.
Watch that. Isn't that nice?
You see him wave?
That's the way to do it.
Wave? Stuck his arm out of the car.
Randy Tyner would go on to win this second qualifying heat out of Sacramento, California. With McCarl finishing second, Jacobs third, Steve Ballinger in the Ronald McDonald car fourth, and Fred Brownfield out of Washington would get the final transfer spot. Those are your highlights from the first 2 qualifying heats that occurred before we hit the air here in Phoenix. Let's go back down to the pits and Ralph.
You know, Mike, if you're a fan of the low-slung, high-horsepowered, super-modified division, this is the king of your sport, Bentley Warren, who happens to be visiting us here in Manzanita. What brings you to Phoenix?
Well, we're running Phoenix International tomorrow tire testing for Hoosier Tire Company, and I just had to come over here and watch some dirt racing.
Getting ready for the Copper Classic, I assume, and of course that comes up in 1993. What else is going on with that division in 1993? Some new things?
Yeah, well, we got 4 shows at Volusia County Speedway during Speed Week at Daytona, and that's with the International Super Modifieds. And then we're going to have a whole full schedule on the East Coast of Oswego and all the other tracks.
Getting a head start, getting ready for another Classic win maybe in 93?
I would like to, naturally.
Boy, for a guy 52 years old, he sure still presses the button, still gets around well. Bentley Warren, don't let him fool you. He's from Gloucester, Mass. He's here to escape the blizzard. 2 days ago, probably called up Hoosier, said, could we come to Phoenix and tire test? Everybody wants to come to Phoenix for one reason or another. And we'll come back to Phoenix right after this. It's your event time. TNN number 1, Hi Ellen. Happy birthday, TJ. He's the driver. Very good, TJ. Believe it or not, that's one of our Delco battery push trucks. Happy 16th birthday. Sammy Swindell getting set to be pushed off here in this feature event. Now, this is going to look like deja vu all over again, as I think Yogi Berra said. But this was in the midget race earlier today.
As he had come back from way back in the pack and came to second and was trying to catch Paige Jones for the lead.
And he goes up, digs the frame in, and over for the second week in a row.
That was an easy rollover there, but I'm sure his leg didn't feel too much the better after that one. He pulled a ligament when he did it last week, and they thought they were going to have to operate on it. They went in and did some tests Thursday, and they said that some heel time is going to make it all better.
So Sammy is okay, and he came back in that midget event earlier today to finish third. So he is all right and getting set to go here in tonight's feature event. We'll mention that Mark Kinzer is not here this week. They were spraying some insulation in his home, and he had an allergic reaction. So he's out of action for this week. We hope to have him back. 26 drivers, Mark would have made 27, have been here all 5 weeks in the Sprint Car World Series. Johnny Herrera looking a little cleaned up there.
I guess they threw him in the gunk tank.
Yeah.
That's a nice shot. You can really get a chance to see how open and exposed the drivers are. They've got a real good view of everything around them, right, left, straight ahead, no sheet metal in the way. Harry McCarl passing by on the inside. There's Ricky Hood in the number 7.
And here's Aaron Berryhill with our other in-car camera. Mounted on the right side of the roll cage.
Berryhill has been exciting in this series.
Been running really good. I think he's got a good start tonight. Hopefully we'll see a good finish out of here. And you got Andy Hillenberg on the outside of him that has been really fast here and hasn't pulled one of these things off yet. Keel on the front row outside. You've got a lot of possibilities of a new winner here tonight.
A lot of them. Blaney, who's won the 2 in a row, starting way, way back in the last row. Let's go back to the pits and round.
This is Kelly Fryer, crew chief for Sammy Swindell. Now, Kelly, you guys are running a bit of a different motor here this week. What is it?
Well, it's a motor that was built for the mile racetrack in Indianapolis. Different camshaft, a lot more compression.
Now, when you run a mile motor on a half mile, can you get too much horsepower on a track like this?
Well, what we're trying to do is keep the camshaft from coming in too quick. Won't blow the tires off of it. Horsepower comes in on top.
So a little smoother. A jump off the corner for Sammy. They call this motor Godzilla. That gives you any idea.
I can't figure that out. He runs wide open all the way around all the time. Just come in with the camshaft.
Let's look at the starting lineup for tonight's feature event. Randy Tyner from California on the pole. Craig Keel from New York outside. Aaron Berryhill and Andy Hillenberg, both from Oklahoma. Hillenberg has a birthday tomorrow. Terry McCarl from Iowa had a great run in his heat. Then there's Steve Kinzer. He'll start 6th tonight. Danny Lasowski goes off 7th. Jack Haudenschild 8th. 9th to be Kenny Jacobs from Ohio. Sammy Swindell will start 10th. 11th, Danny Wood from Oklahoma. Greg Hodnett from Tennessee. Row 7, Steve Ballinger from South Dakota. Johnny Herrera from New Mexico. In row number 8, Ricky Hood from Indiana and Jerry Stone from Oklahoma. In the 9th row, Fred Brownfield from Washington. Stevie Smith from Pennsylvania. In row 10, Calvin Landis and Marty Wilcox, both from Phoenix. Then the Consi cars, Gary Lee Meyer, Dale and Dave Blaney, and Rod Henderson. 24 cars, 30 laps.
Keep your eye on Steve Kinzer. He has won 336 of these things. That's 37%. 1/3 of all World of Outlaw features have been won by Steve Kinzer. He starts 6th. He has not won here in Phoenix.
And right beside him is Terry McCarl, and Terry McCarl's wife is expecting at any moment.
Yeah, funny story there. I guess there was a phone call. She took off on a drive. They thought she was going to the hospital. She went to the mall. Came home. Oh, well. Let's get to it. 30 laps. Round 5 of the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series underway. Green flag.
Randy Tyner moves out to the lead. The pack seems to make it through turn 1.
Not long. Craig Keel has just taken the lead on the backstretch. Tyner in 2nd spot. Keel, your leader on the left side of your screen, car number 8.
And moving away.
Boy, he is.
A spin to the infield by Hillenberg in turn 4. And the field rolls on without him. Challenge at 2nd spot.
And they're going to throw the yellow.
Yep. Hillenberg stalled him with that spin, a harmless spin out of turn number 4. As we run back to the caution. Looked like trouble for Berryhill's car. He was way up slow on that caution. Almost rolling to a stop here at turn 4.
And McCarl is rolling to a stop on the 27 car.
Check that. It is 27 rather than 97. Let's make that Terry McCarl, who coasts into the pit area. That's what he was doing up in turn 4, rolling slow so he could cut down to the designated pit road area here.
Must have lost power to it. Here we go.
Hillenberg, Haudenschild in yellow.
Hillenberg just lost it. Just got out into the loose stuff, and off she went.
When you're running the thing wide open like that, you catch a hole, and you're kind of partially in the slick, and you're in the rough too. It's got a good bite, and then all of a sudden it bounces up out of the hole. You buzz the tires. When it comes back down, hits the black, it turns the car around just almost instantly. Sometimes it's very hard to catch, and sometimes you can't. He didn't do it that time.
It's the voice of Jeff Swindell, the man who nearly won round 2 of this series. Led a good part of it. We have completed 1 lap. Hillenberg goes to the back. Update on Terry McCarl, Ralph.
Mike, broken power steering line. The crew's working on it, trying to get him fixed, and hopefully we'll get him back out before the green comes out.
McCarl started in 5th position, finished 2nd in this qualifying heat.
These cars all have power steering. They are an absolute bear to drive without it. Years ago, all sprint cars were run without power steering, but now because of the setup, because of the way they put the front ends in these cars and align them, you just couldn't do it. Even Steve Kinzer couldn't turn it without
Well,
power steering.
the thing about it is with the wing and the down pressure and you got so much force on the front end, it's just so hard to steer without the power steering.
Power steering's made such a difference in race cars. We spent 2 days, Monday and Tuesday night at the Buck Baker School of Rockingham with Buddy Baker and John Force, the drag racer. Now, getting him to turn left, that was a trip. But the thing that surprised me most about running those NASCAR Sportsman and Busch Grand National cars there was how easily they steered with the power steering. It's kind of like getting in one of those big old Lincolns, the ones you could steer with your baby finger and just running it around. The steering, it almost felt like it was too light.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, how fast did you go in one of those things?
I don't know. Buddy says 140.
140 miles an hour.
You know, that's what he says. He had the watch, I didn't, so I got to believe him. Plus, he's got to sit next to me all season long, so who knows? We'll be back. Lap complete. Randy Tyner is second. Steve Kinzer up to third. Jack Haudenschild fourth. Fifth is Sammy Swindell. Sixth, Danny Lasowski. Aaron Berryhill is seventh. Terry McCarl is eighth. Kenny Jacobs is ninth. Greg Hodnett is 10th. Johnny Herrera is in 11th. In 12th is Steve Bellinger. And there is Dave Blaney. He has passed 10 cars in one complete lap. Don't count him out of victory lane just yet.
Well, that would be amazing if he could do that from there, but I tell you, he's going to have his hands full tonight. He didn't get started up front.
Terry McCarl is out of this race. We're ready to go back to green. One lap complete. Restart out of turn 2.
Here goes Sammy.
Yep.
Sammy smokes to the lead. Woo, that was one heck of a start.
Sammy Swindell. Greg Keel. Hard on the throttle, but it just wasn't hard enough. And Swindell came out of the pack like a slingshot.
Man, that was a nice start. We got one slowing on the back straightaway, and he pulls it out of gear and stops.
And that's Hodnett. They're going to take it back.
Yep, we'll go to yellow. Greg Hodnett in trouble out of turn 2 and rolling to a stop.
Just sitting there.
All right, Jeff, tell me about the psychology of these restarts. Keel is the pole man. He's up front. He's the guy that's got to set the pace. And what's the protocol?
Actually, I think Keel must have chose the wrong spot on the racetrack to start the race. Everybody else seemed to get a good run on him when they came through there. Sammy come across the bottom. Hod came around the outside, and Kinzer got caught by both of them.
But now, do you go on the flag, or do you go when the pole man goes?
You go when the pole man stands on the gas. No one stands on the gas till the pole man goes. The green light will not come on the racetrack until after the cars have taken off and they decide that the start is okay.
Good point. And folks, keep in mind, this is probably contrary, Dick, to just about every other form of racing where you wait on the flag and then you go.
Yeah, ordinarily you see the flagman coming off the fourth corner when the guy waves the green flag, off you go, but that's not the way it works here. There's a light on the backstretch, and when that light goes to green, that's when you go.
Okay, one of the big things about right now is Sammy is going back. They did not complete a lap. The yellow flag came out right as Sammy was coming under the flag stand, so they're going back to the last original start. So that's really going to kill Sammy, and he don't want to give it up. He's still staying up there.
And again, this is contrary to a lot of forms of racing. Now here's the start. Keel is on the button, but Sammy just anticipated it perfectly. Tyner got a good shot, so did Kinzer.
Tyner just didn't get. He didn't come off on the restart.
Well, he was locked behind Keel. He couldn't get going either.
Yeah.
I bet Sammy'd like to see that replay so we can do the same thing all over again.
Yeah, I think that'll go in his clip reel.
Yeah.
You know, of favorite restarts.
Well, it can't be a favorite because he didn't get it.
Well, still
it was a good job. I tell you, you can't get any better than that on restarts.
No, he really got the job done there.
And the lap count's still at 1. Now again, in a lot of forms of racing, when the leader passes the line, that's a completed lap. That's not the case here. In World of Outlaws, it's the judgment of the scores, whether they have the field sufficiently covered to call that lap completed. In this case, we didn't.
And Keel got a lesson out of that as well. He saw all those guys go by, and he certainly is not going to get caught sleeping at the switch again, and neither is Tyner.
Yeah, Keel just got a reprieve from the governor.
Well, a lot of the things, the main thing about this racetrack on the restarts is the cushion is so far up on the racetrack, and when you start coming off a 2, you're not up to speed yet. So when you go into 3 and you stay on the cushion, if a guy's running the same speed you are going down the back straightaway, he can slide across the bottom like Sammy did. There's the in car.
Now remember too the protocol. You're looking at the cars in turn 2. That's where they restart. At turn 2, run down the back straightaway, and then come around come around to the green flag. So as they pass that start-finish stripe, that is the beginning of the first scored lap under green.
Yes, that's right. And you don't actually get a lap in until they come all the way back around again. So actually, you're under throttle for a lap and a half before you get a lap in.
1.5 to get one, and that's what saved Craig Keel's lead.
Right. And it's the safest way to do it. Sammy had the lap actually for almost a lap and a half.
We're going to try it again. Hodnett is back at the tail end of the
Kinzer
field.
lags back, way back to jumpstart the rest of the guys.
And here we go.
And it cost Sammy on that one.
Steve's got a good run at those front 2 spots. They come out of turn number 4. This will begin lap 2. Keel at the front. Tyner in second. Kinzer now third.
Kinzer takes second from Tyner. And he's got his sights set on Keel.
Second with authority. Hodenschild inside Tyner.
Oh, it's Tyner.
Yep.
Tyner and Hodenschild tangle.
Hodenschild didn't quite clear him going in the corner there when he tried to slide job him underneath the bottom and takes both of them out.
And that's a perfect score for the 3F. It has crashed every week here.
With different drivers.
2 different drivers.
And that wasn't his fault.
No, it definitely wasn't. No. But the car is pretty well torn up. It's doubtful that he'll be back at it.
No, he is done.
And Hodenschild, look at the right rear on his car.
Hodgenschild's done as well.
That is the product that actually hit Tyner.
Was the right rear.
Was the right rear.
Terry McCarl on the sidelines. Looks like Hodenschild will join him, as will Tyner. And the man who had the scariest looking wreck of the weekend, Dave Blaney, is out there running.
Here's Jack Hodenschild trying to slide him under the bottom, and he must have thought he got him, but didn't know he was there.
Yep. Right rear, right front. That'll do it every time. Just picked him right up.
Hodenschild must have thought he cleared him. Let's see if this angle shows it any clearer.
Look at the Chevy Swindell there.
No, it's already done. Sorry. Already happened.
Tyner almost got it over again. Not quite. Laid it on its side. Not quite over.
About as close as you can get without doing it.
Yep.
Well, now, Hod's trying to get a push off.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that one out. Looked like that right rear was so torn up, but I guess it's just a flat tire, Mike.
Yeah, it looks like everything seems to be intact over here.
I thought maybe
they better not roll him.
The angle on that.
Better not roll him too fast. Sometimes when these tires are flat, they get to flopping like that. They'll take the Nerf bar and wrap it and rip it right out of the car.
So we're under caution, and I'm told we still have 1 lap completed. We'll be back to Phoenix right after these messages.
Hi, everybody. Pat Patterson again. Ever wondered why nobody's ever improved on that can of spray lubricant we all have in our garage? Well, the folks at Slick 50 have. They've added Slick 50 PTFE and made a new spray lubricant called One Lube.
Brazilian. John Cameron Swayze should have done one of his famous watch commercials tied onto the roll cage of one of these sprinters. There's Hodenschild. His car's got a new right rear. He's back out. Terry McCarl got his car fixed, got back out for a lap a little bit ago.
Kelly Pryor in there helping the guys change the thing.
Yep. Sammy Swindell's crew chief. Everybody does pitch in when there's a problem with one of these cars. They all jump in and try to get it fixed.
One of Kenny Jacobs' crew also there on the right-hand side. Looks like he's fixing to tighten it up. Kelly's working with putting the tire on, and one of the Pennzoil guys has got the jack, and the other one puts the nut on. So,
well, you know, you'd hope that when your car comes in here, you'd get the same kind of help.
That's no doubt. That's one thing about Kelly. Kelly started out with me in sprint cars half a dozen years ago or so, and every time you see pit action, you see Kelly.
Hodenschild is going to start in the back of the pack, and that'll make it exciting. He's got a third here after he busted a nose wing off. He won, he flipped. Last week he busted another nose wing and chose to pit. There he is, and he will be exciting starting in the back of this pack.
One car that I don't think is coming back is Randy Tyner. His 3F is on the hook. They're going off to the pit area.
Definitely tore that thing up pretty bad.
Yep. Yeah, that's one tire you're not just going to bolt on and replace.
These guys have been taking a lick and keep coming back.
And one who did is Terry McCarl, who was involved up in that first incident. He has rejoined the field, tail end. Had a great run in his qualifying heat. He's back out.
Yeah, that was tough luck for him. He had a good starting spot, ran really well in the heat, was passing cars left and right. Hopefully he can come back and make a good show here.
Started 5th. He'll have to restart 23rd. Still has a problem with the power steering, we're told. But he's going to give it a go. He They can outlast some of these cars. 1 to go. Restart this time. Craig Keel still the leader. Steve Kinser, Sammy Swindell, Danny Lasowski, Aaron Berryhill, Kenny Jacobs, Johnny Herrera, and Steve Ballinger. Then Dave Blaney, Stevie Smith, and Danny Wood.
I don't think that one's going to make it. No.
Starter still holding the flag.
The thing here that's causing the problem with that one is Steve is backing up off of Craig Keel about 3 or 4 car lengths and standing on the gas, anticipating when Keel's going to stand on the gas. He gets the whole field coming. Keel doesn't get in the gas, so then it bunches everybody back up. They have to get back out of the throttle again, and if that happens very much before, we're going to see a crash.
Yeah, because the trouble with a slingshot start is when you pull that thing back, everything stacks up right behind you.
That's right. There's no pulling it back once you release that rubber band.
And Sammy also knows that Steve Kinser's right in front of him. He doesn't want to let Steve get away. So he's being aggressive about it, too.
Well, when the car in front of you goes, you got to go. And Steve's just lagging back too far on Keel.
Another look at it. Lasowski on the line. 71 of Kenny Jacobs, and he's right up and all over. There's Sammy.
He splits them. They say, well, the heck with it. I'll go ahead and stand on it. I know this isn't going to go, but just in case.
Yeah.
Did Steve just give Sammy a little love tap at that point?
Oh, I think they were just kind of playing with each other. Here we go.
Let's try it again. We still have 1 lap completed. There's Lasowski on the bottom. Yep. He gets a good run down the back straightaway to 3rd. Let's see if it holds up. And Kinser for the lead.
Like a rocket, right under Keel.
Green flag. Lap 2.
Lasowski is coming. He got a good jump on Sammy. He came down to the bottom there and started on the pole of that last restart and got by Sammy and is really starting to work on Keel.
Danny Lasowski, number 5, the 3rd place car. Moving up on Wheatsport, New York's Craig Keel. Keel earlier today drove a midget for the first time in his career and did well. Kenny Jacobs moving with Dave Blaney. Blaney has come from nowhere being 23rd starting spot. He is 6th in that Casey Luna Ford.
Would it be a story if he won this race or what?
I'll tell you, if anybody beats Steve Kinser tonight, it's going to be a story.
Yeah, he's moving right on Berryhill now. Blaney in the number 10. That's the car that was in the junkyard. You're riding with Berryhill.
In 2 weeks.
You're in 5th spot right now. Feature event at Manzanita Speedway.
In 2 weeks, Blaney's been from victory lane to the junkyard and back again.
And there's Blaney right there.
And the in-car camera is going to be dropping back a spot here very shortly when the 5-ridden car gets there.
All right, Kinser lapping past Marty Wilcox. And there, that looked like Danny Wood. And Steve Kinser picks him off. Kinser leaves for New Zealand, a previous commitment to the race series down there. They were going to leave during this week, but they decided to come back for one more shot at Manzanita. Did not want to leave here without a firm shot at 1 win. They couldn't figure out how this eluded them. Tangle and caution.
Marty Wilcox in the 3. Looks like they must be tied up.
It's Brett Brownfield in the other car. Brownfield's in the 92.
From Snohomish, Washington, Brownfield, who got in here by finishing 4th or 5th in his qualifying heat.
And that's exactly what Blaney needed. That's going to close the field up, and that's going to give him a much better shot than Steve Kinser, who had actually started to run off with things. The lap cars will be lined up right where they're running between the 1st and 2nd cars. There's Kinser.
6 laps now complete out of 30. Kinser the leader, Craig Keel, Danny Lasowski, Sammy Swindell, Aaron Berryhill the top 5. Dave Blaney posted in 6th. Kenny Jacobs, Johnny Herrera, Steve Ballinger, and Stevie Smith in 10th. Then Danny Wood, Gary Lee Meyer, Calvin Landis, and Ricky Hood. Only car out of the race, Randy Tyner.
Yeah, Jerry Stone has just pitted.
The number 3 car being pushed off, Marty Wilcox. And we've got Johnny Herrera there with the in-car. Let's give him a try. Johnny, this is TNN. Can you copy us up here in the booth? We're told Johnny's on the horn to his crew as we're trying to reach him, so we'll give this a rest here as we roll around under the caution flag. 6 laps down, 24 to go. Looks like we may get a start next time. 2 cars separated from turn number 2. And let's see if we get the indication.
One more time. Here we go.
Heel now in the 3rd spot. Kinzer up front. Getting set to go back to green.
And Berryhill goes around Sammy and around Lasowski, and the lap car catches him going into 3.
I want to tell you, Berryhill has been impressive tonight.
And he still looks like he may get Lasowski, but no, he gets loose coming off the corner.
Greg Neal moved up past that lap car to ensure his 2nd spot for the moment.
And here is the vibrant 4.
Pulling right up on Berryhill. There's a wing on the front straightaway. We'll get a caution. Not sure where that came.
It came off of Dale Blaney's front end, missing the front wing.
And there it is.
Yep, sitting up in the 4th corner.
You ever had that front wing fly off? What's it feel like?
Well, it comes back in your face sometimes. Sometimes you have to dig it out of the cockpit to see. And a lot of the times when you have to run without it, it makes it real hard to steer because it makes the car push a lot because the front end gets a lot lighter on the car. You can take the wing valve on the top wing, run the top wing forward a lot of times to make up for it. Matter of fact, I won one of the Outlaw shows last year in Lernerville, Pennsylvania that way.
So we're under caution, still scoring 6 laps complete here. There is Dale Blaney's car. And they're going to drill a new mounting spot. Get that front wing back on. That's a different one.
Oh yeah, them things pop right off and on. They've got
kind of like tear off.
Yeah, they've got 2 bolts normally in the front there that you can see him trying to put in, and it has 2 Zeus fasteners on each side on the back. So it's a very quick project.
We're also told that Rod Henderson broke an oil line on his car. He's in the pits, and we're looking for green flag once again. 6 laps complete.
We've got it. Steve Kinzer's your leader. Lasowski now running in 2nd position.
So Danny Lasowski, who's in the top 5 in points here, moves up to 2nd.
And Blaney's got to be one of the fastest cars on this racetrack right now. I think him and Steve are probably the fastest cars on this track.
The fight for 5th between Blaney and Sammy Schwindel right there.
Sammy trying to hold him off. It looks a little bit like he's holding him up.
Yeah, he definitely is holding him up just a little bit. Sammy's car isn't just right through the corners, and Sammy's taking a different line, and he's slowing down a lot more coming off the corner, getting in a lot faster, but Blaney's coming up on him in the straightaway.
Long gap from there back.
Sammy tries Keel on that shot, didn't make it, and Blaney comes after him because he tried him and got a little bit slowed down.
Blaney Hood falls out of the race, goes to pit road.
Blaney is so impressive all the way from the back of the field. Look at this, challenging for 5th spot. He's got it. Whew. Well, he had it.
He's got it.
From 23rd on the grid.
That is impressive.
Kinzer, Lasowski, Keel, Blaney, and Swindell with 10 laps complete. Here's the man we've not seen up front in this series so far, but he is making a display of it tonight.
No doubt. And him and Danny Lasowski seem to be moving away from the field very strongly. Danny's not going to let him get away from him, but Steve is staying on the gas and getting to that lap traffic pretty fast.
You heard the interview with Steve at the top of the show. It was a different Steve Kinzer than we're used to hearing. You didn't hear that strong voice of confidence. He says, you know, they're tearing us up, and we don't really know why. It was kind of self-deprecating humor there, but now he's the one with a smile on his face.
But they've really tried hard, Mark. This is the 2nd car they brought here. They started this series with a coilover car. They switched to the torsion car they're more familiar with, and boy, have they got that thing hooked up tonight.
No question.
Yeah, the car seemed, all the other races, it seemed to be loose on the right rear. It was sliding through the slick. Didn't want to grab a hold quite as good. Now you can see he can run right in the edge of the slick, and the car seems to be sticking really well. Danny Lasowski is right there in second, and he's coming along with it.
Kinser the leader, Lasowski second. Jack Haudenschild from the back after that pit stop has come up to 9th place.
We kind of hate to, I kind of hate to say it, but Carl stayed home this week. Maybe that's where you want to watch the race from, if you're listening there, Carl, but I'm sure that's not part of it.
Just a matter, I think, of luck turning around and getting the right combination. Steve Kinser out in front.
That's it.
I think Carl's packing for New Zealand. Here's Dave Blaney in traffic as we come up on halfway. That's Calvin Landis out of Phoenix just ahead. Greg Hodnett just behind.
We got one slowing down here coming off, and that is Dave Blaney.
Oops.
Oh. As Hod almost gets into the wall up there trying to slow down.
Caution. Well, Cinderella's foot swell. And that hope-for glass slipper after he'd taken that ride out of the park is not going to fit tonight.
You can try no harder than that, though, Mike.
No.
You've got to applaud these guys. Kenny Woodruff and the crew worked to put that car back together again, get him out there and run that well.
So we're under caution once again here at Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix. Second place car, Danny Lasowski is going to pit. Kenny Jacobs is in the pit under this caution flag.
That's a sad story. Denny was running really well.
Could run no better than that. Running second, sticking with Steve Kinser. They can rejoin the field, but they will rejoin it at the back of the pack. And this, oh, that's his problem right there. Obviously, flat left rear tire.
Now there are several lapped cars separating Steve Kinser from Craig Keel, who becomes the second place car now that Lasowski's on pit road. And Sammy Swindell will be third on this restart. Kenny Jacobs is in the pit. That'll move Herrera up to fourth.
Yeah, that's tough. That's one thing about this, as we talked about a while ago, you see all the different pit guys helping out on every one of these things. Every time it happens, you see half a dozen crews working on the same car, trying to get everybody back in the race. Nobody wants anybody to stay out of the racetrack.
Trouble on the Steve Bellinger car from South Dakota.
The thing looks like the right front torsion arm there has raised up on the car, and it looks like it's stuck down in between the roller and the axle.
That's odd.
It'll make it sit like that sometimes when it does that. If the axle moves back just a little bit, or the torsion arm is just a little bit too short when you get the car in a left down bind going in the corner, it can raise up and stick. You can see it not moving up and down right there. It looks like that's what's happening.
Let's check on pit activity with Ralph.
Well, the problem down here for a couple of drivers has been out of fuel. For Kenny Jacobs, his car, the 71M, ran out of fuel, and in the process, burned up the motor because they tried to get it going again. Now, the problem is almost the same for Dave Blaney. You might remember his crash. During the crash, it kind of shortened up his fuel tank. And in the process of shortening up the fuel tank, they couldn't get as much fuel in the car, and he is a little bit out of gas. You can see with our camera, there's the dent in the fuel tank on the back side.
Under caution here, Kenny Jacobs would have been the fifth place car by that restart, but now he is by the wayside.
They don't get very good mileage on these cars. They only get about 3/4 of a mile to the gallon. They run alcohol, and boy, do they drink an awful lot of it.
Folks, because we've had so many caution flags here, what the World of Outlaws and Manzanita Speedway officials have decided to do is going to red flag this race and refuel the cars. Then they'll put them back out here, and we'll finish this event. And hopefully all those cars that had trouble, but for Kenny Jacobs, as you heard, will be able to rejoin this race. So give us a minute here. We'll be right back with the finish.
Race day, next on TNN.
We see down in the pit area off turn number 4, they are fueling cars, and the red flag couldn't have come at a better time for Craig Keel, who ran out of fuel just as they had dropped that red flag and coasted in. That's Keel's car just to the front. Of course, he was the first car there, having run out of fuel first. Look at Stevie Smith. He's had a fair run here tonight, currently posted in the 7th position. Stevie. A little bit of halftime break here. 16 laps complete. Red flag for refueling. We'll get right back to this. Right now, let's do a little up close and personal with Stevie Smith.
Stevie Smith's heritage is one reason why he is currently one of the top professional sprint car drivers. Stevie mastered his craft on the Pennsylvania sprint car circuit, one of the roughest in the country.
I think there's no question. I think that's the toughest circuit for local racers in the country. The guys there do a real good job. They race a lot. They have good equipment. And I think that's been a big success. There's mostly the half-mile tracks in Pennsylvania. There is a couple quarter miles. And I've been able to adapt to the racetracks out west and southern and all across the United States. The help I got from Pennsylvania was, it really did a lot for me in my career.
Like all drivers, Stevie struggled early on with the question, can I be successful as a racer?
Well, I wondered at first when I started. Things went slow, and we didn't have a lot of money to buy good equipment, and I was wondering if I was going to be able to do it. But the next year, things started falling in line, and it just seemed a lot easier than the first year. And ever since then, we've just been kind of climbing the ladder, so it just all fell in place for us.
1992 was a tremendous year for this talented young driver. 8 wins and second place in the final World of Outlaw points. Stevie is pleased with his team's performance, but doesn't plan on resting on his laurels.
We're happy with the class we're in, the sprint cars, and we've worked real hard. I've been around them for a long time. I'd like to move on maybe to NASCAR, but right now we're going to try to perfect what we're doing, do our best for the team and the guys we're working with, and we'll wait for an opportunity to come along.
Stevie Smith's future appears to be a bright one, but he has never forgotten his roots and the fact that those tough Pennsylvania dirt tracks made him more than just a winner.
It just seems to be the capital of sprint car racing, and it's the style tracks. Sometimes they're wet, they're rough, they're slick. You just got a whole variety, and I think it just makes a good racer out of you. And I'm sure there's a lot of other drivers in Pennsylvania that are capable of doing this outlaw circuit if they could get a good sponsor and travel along right with us.
We're back at Manzanita live now as they've finished fueling cars and are pushing them off. Let's run down the order for you. Steve Kinzer is the leader. Craig Keel from Weedsport, New York, has had a great night here. He's in second place. Sammy Swindell's driven his way up to third. Johnny Herrera from New Mexico is fourth. Jack Haudenschild had a flat tire earlier. He's come back now to run in the 5th spot. Aaron Berryhill is 6th. Stevie Smith, the 7th place car. Gary Lee Meyer is 8th. Jerry Stone is 9th, and Calvin Landis is 10th. We'll get an update for you on Danny Lasowski, who comes up. Here are your feature winners thus far. Swindell, Hod, Blaney twice. And this week, who knows?
Looks very possible to be the Kinzer before he takes off out of the country.
Next Sunday, we'll be back right here at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live from Phoenix for round 6 of the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series. If you come out here to see it, bring along a non-perishable food item for $5 off the gate price. Also, you'll see the Eagle One Midget World Challenge in the afternoon, and then our Sprint Car Series in the evening.
I wonder if some of the hot dogs at some of the racetracks around the country qualify as a non-perishable food item. I've had some that I don't think could ever perish. Probably not. It's a thought.
I'm waiting for the all-concession stand issue of Open Wheel magazine. Yeah, that'll be a big seller. On the other hand, it might taste better than some of those hot dogs. Yeah, it could be. Riding along with Aaron Berryhill as we get set to restart this one. Only 2 drivers have finished in the top 10 in every one of these 4 nights, and Mark Kinzer not here tonight with a 5th, a 7th, a 10th, and a 4th. He's on the ailing list this evening. Sammy Swindell, a win, 2nd, 3rd, and 2nd.
That's pretty good there. That's why he is these points.
Yep, can't get much more consistent than that.
I've got to give a call to Sammy for even being here tonight. There was some thought that he wouldn't show up. He was walking around the pits with a brace on his left leg, using a cane to go from point A to point B.
But he is here, and he is running well. 8 cars on the lead lap. You'll see race day in its entirety just as soon as we're done here and bring you up to date on everything in the world of motorsports. We are going back to green, and Steve is hot on the button, and nobody's with him.
all the lap cars are in between him, and Sammy is having a hard time weaving through. He's gotten through one or two of them, but it's hard to catch Steve when you give him an open road and you put a couple of slow cars in front of you.
There are 3 lapped cars, make that now 2, separating him from the leaders. There's Hottenschild coming up. He has gone past Keel to take over the 3rd spot. The 11X Gary Lee Meyer, the red car, lapped. And a lot of jostling around as Herrera fought for some racing room there.
Yep, there's Stevie Smith trailing Herrera. Danny Lasowski is just past Berryhill.
Lasowski is the 8th place car, still on the lead lap. Now you're riding with Berryhill. Aaron Berryhill running in 6th.
Semi having a large trouble getting around Greg Hawkins there from Memphis also. And Hodchild's coming right after him and not going to let him wait too long.
If you're looking for Keel in this picture, you're not going to see it. He has dropped way, way back.
Had a tough run on the restart.
It said earlier that it looked like Keel was missing, the motor was missing just a little bit, so he may have motor problem.
10 laps to go. And again, you'll see race day in its entirety after we're done here. Still 3 lap cars separating Kinser and Swindell, and that'll be tough to overcome here.
Major tough. Kinser has basically checked out. He has got almost exactly a half a lap lead right now on Sammy.
Yep, paid the bill, turned in the room key, just waiting for American Express. So
here's the race. Here's the race right here for 2nd spot. Sammy's got it at the moment. Hodgshield in that number 22, the yellow car, is looking for it. And you got 2 strong cars, 2 good race car drivers, and they're looking for 2nd place money right now.
It's pretty tight. I'd say they're pretty evenly matched. And there's Herrera coming into the picture right in behind Hodgschild.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and there's Lasowski. He's moved right up with him, so those 4 cars in a row. That's your 2nd place battle, 4 cars deep. There's Herrera. That's Lasowski on the right side of your screen, inside, Johnny.
See him look over to the left to see if anybody's beside him. And there is somebody beside him right now. Lasowski.
And Lasowski slides up in front of him and shuts the door on him.
And Stevie Smith is up there as well. Caution is out.
With 5 to go.
Safety truck moving toward the back straightaway. As caution is out with 5 laps to go and puts an end temporarily to Steve Kinser's run.
Looks like we've got a car on the back straightaway over there hidden from us right this moment.
7 to go.
I'd like to know what they did different with that Kinser car, because they have been just unbelievably so much faster this time. And there is part of the debris, actually, that was on the back straightaway.
A bar on the backstretch, not a car on the backstretch.
Yeah.
There's an old Ray Melton story about that, but...
Actually, it is a torsion bar, one of the suspension components, with the torsion arm still attached to it. So somebody has lost that part.
Best guess, Danny Wood. That's the car that just rolled to the pit area.
You need 4 of those bars.
Normally, if you can do it sometimes without them. I've run them a little ways, but not too far.
Maybe you can, but not many could, Ken.
Well, you just got to be lucky. It's got to be the right bar.
I think it was Ray Melton announcing a Grand National stock car race. He says there's a tar over the wall. The fellow sharing the PA with him said, "There's a car over the wall."
That's
and
right.
Ray said, "There's a car over the wall," and it's got to be one of these Abbott and Costello things that had everybody in the grandstand looking over the fence. Turned out it was just a tar, or that's a tire for those of you who don't live in the southeast. So
Yeah,
it was
okay.
a bar on the backstretch, not a car.
Exactly. I heard that one wrong and called it wrong.
And every time Johnny Herrera looks left, there's Lasowski right beside him. Doesn't matter what else happens. Lasowski and Herrera have been going at this thing all race long.
And they're still side by side because they're waiting for the scores to decide who has the position. I believe it's going to be Herrera.
Herrera. I don't think Danny liked it, but he's going to have to live with it. And oh, they can't do that.
A lot of lap cars.
That was a messed up start there.
Kinser was way out front, but the lap cars didn't go.
And it is the Steve and Sammy show at this point in time. And I don't think they're going to fill the green.
They did not. And that's a smart move.
Yes. Yeah,
While
everybody
you
wasn't ready.
While you saw Kinser speed away, there were 3 lap cars stacked up and nowhere for Sammy or for Hod or any of those other guys to go. And that battle for second spot, as we said, there was 5 cars deep just before the caution because Stevie Smith had caught them. So it's going to be a good one.
I'll tell you what, right now there's only 1 car between Sammy Swindell and that number 22 of Hodenshield, and then all the rest. So we got some strong cars up front.
And we're not giving this race away to Steve Kinser. Stranger things have happened here in this series.
This is very true. When you put Sammy and Steve together on the front of the show, you're not going to know what happens till the last lap.
That lap car, the 11X Gary Lee Meyer, in front of Hodenshield, and right ahead of him is the 4A of Greg Hodnett. That's what separates Hodenshield from the 2 leaders right now. They may do a little reordering here as they come around. Kinser the leader, Swindell second, Hodenshield third, Johnny Herrera, Danny Lasowski, Stevie Smith, Aaron Berryhill, and Craig Keel are the cars on the lead lap. 7 to go.
Sammy tries to go to the bottom and get a good start, but he just can't do it. Kinser got the right rear stuck in the cushion, and it takes off pretty good and gets about a 6-car length lead.
Here's Hodenshield, right side of your screen, and he clears all the lap cars.
Hodnett's front wing is flipped up and torn all the pieces on the front of his car.
Hodenshield all the way from the back of the pack. He was involved in that incident with Tyner, and he has worked his way to 3rd.
Hodenshield now trying to close on Swindell. A lap car, and then Lasowski, second car in the frame. And it's Stevie Smith now, who's balked by the lap traffic. Smith's red 77, trying to get through traffic. Pull up on Lasowski. 5 to go. As they come past, Kinser looking to be the 4th winner in 5 weeks of racing here.
Lasowski gets by Greg Hodnett there. Hodnett's having a little bit of problems. That front wing fell down on him, but it hasn't slowed him down a whole lot. Those guys aren't blasting by him, but they're getting by him slowly but surely.
Back up front, Kinser in what must be a very familiar feeling place, and a welcome one after the trouble he's had in the 4 weeks of this series so far.
They've got the car figured out, because that car looks like the Kinser car.
Look at the nose wing there on Hodnett's car.
Stuff flying off, actually. Looked like one of the rear supporting brackets.
Oh well. Makes for a tough night. Kinser in the Valvoline machine into the countdown laps here. Live on TNN as he pulls up on Steve Bellinger. Second place, Sammy Swindell.
He's now about a half a straightaway behind Steve, but he is gaining just a little bit every lap.
Ooh. Kinser not able to get by Bellinger that time. 1 lap to go.
He'll run this underneath. He'll run this lap very cautiously. Doesn't want to tangle with anybody. Steve Kinser, your leader, going down the back straightaway.
Into turn 3, and as he comes up and out of 4. Final time facing the checkered flag, Steve Kinser.
Nice job.
In the 5th week of the series, gets his win. Sammy Swindell second, Jack Hodenshield third, Johnny Herrera 4th.
Danny Lasowski.
Lasowski is 5th, and Stevie Smith is 6th unofficially.
Kinser's running this thing like he didn't see the checkered flag. I'm sure he did, but he's still hard on the gas. Sammy went right into the pits. As soon as he took the checker, Sammy Swindell immediately went to the pit area.
We'll be back to the Sprint Car World Series. Right after these victory lanes sits the Valvoline machine of Steve Kinser and Dick Berger, and we've been waiting 5 weeks for this to happen. Everybody knew it would. It was just a question of when.
Yeah, this is his 32nd win in World of Outlaws competition in 1992. If he ran only this 1 year, he would be 5th in the all-time list. Right now he's with Ralph Shaheen. Ralph?
Big sigh of relief for you. Was it something that you found, or did the racetrack come to you tonight?
Well, you know, I just got confidence in the car. It started running right through the rough stuff really good, and I just had the thing where you could just, you could just run right through the holes on the thing, and the car really worked good. And yeah, it's been nice to make it a little bit easier to fly to Australia now, knowing that wouldn't get shut out here.
Well, you know, this win probably doesn't rank up there with all of your titles or with another Knoxville win, but what does it mean to you? How tight were you coming in here tonight?
Well, you know, it really didn't mean anything. You know, people watching television stuff said, when are you going to win one of those things? And, you know, I don't like going 5 races without winning a race myself, especially as good as we normally run. And I'm just glad to win one, and I'll take off to Australia and let the rest of the guys fight it from here on out.
Steve Kinser in victory lane, a very accustomed place for the King of the Outlaws.
You know, it's interesting, Mike. He said that he doesn't like going 5 races without winning. Most race car drivers go the entire season without winning. And 5 races for him is a long, bad spell, and that says something about his skill level.
Kinser the winner. Sammy Swindell second, Jack Haudenschild third, Johnny Herrera fourth, and Danny Lasowski came back for a top 5 finish, had a strong run here tonight. Johnny Herrera gave that in-car camera quite a ride as well this evening. Stevie Smith picked up the 6th spot. They were all on the lead lap. Craig Keel, the early leader, fell back a lap in the closing 2 circuits to finish 7th. Greg Hodnett was 8th, Jerry Stone was 9th, Gary Lee Meyer was 10th, and Calvin Landis was the 11th place finisher tonight in round 5 of the Sprint Car World Series. What'd you think?
Oh, I thought it was a pretty good race, really. You know, you got a lot of stamina out of most of these drivers out here in the sprint cars, and you know, Steve fought with the rock to the head and the rock to the arm, and Sammy's got the messed up ligament with the brace on the leg, and he runs second tonight. So
and it's got to be different when you go home and everybody's seen the race on TV, and you got to answer those questions.
Yeah, very much so.
Let's go back down near victory lane. Ralph Shaheen.
We're with Jack Haudenschild, who finished 3rd here tonight. We didn't get a chance to talk to you after the incident early on. Can you tell me what happened out there?
Well, early in the race, I got together with Randy Tyner, and I hit him, and, you know, messed us both up, took him out, and set me the tail. So, you know, we had to start from the tail, and we were way back, and coming from the back, it's a long way to get back up through there. So, you know, we managed to get back up 3rd, and, you know, so it turned out to be a half-fair night.
What was the story with this racetrack tonight? Was one type of car better than another, and is that why Kinser got to where he did today?
Well, he just kept out of trouble and, you know, kept his nose clean, and his car was going good. And you know, it don't matter really what kind of car you got, as long as you get her halfway right, you'll be there at the end.
Interesting point in that only the first 2 cars to finish did not pit. Sometime during this event, Kinser and Sammy, everybody else made a stop to pit lane. Haudenschild for a tire, Herrera had to come in, Lasowski, Stevie Smith. Among those top 6 cars, everybody stopped at least once, so you just never know, and you just can't ever count yourself out, I guess, here.
That's one of the things about Steve Kinser. You know, he just never, ever gives up, and neither does Sammy Swindell, for that matter of fact. No matter whether the car is running well, whether it's running mediocre, poor, they just hang in there. They either wait for the racetrack to come to them, or they'll try to make an adjustment on a pit stop. Whatever it takes, they just keep hanging in, keep trying, and eventually they do win.
Race day immediately follows the Sprint Car World Series. You'll see that in its entirety with Pat Patterson here on TNN. And I guess Dick and I pick up the snow shovels once again and head home and see what's left on the driveway, or what's left of the driveway.
Yeah, what's left of the house too.
Yeah, and I'm going to be thinking about you from the Cayman Islands this week.
Yeah, thanks. Ralph, can you top that?
No, I'm afraid I can't. I'm going back to California. The Cayman Islands do sound good, though. Sammy Swindell, first place would have sounded better than second, I'm sure. Not enough motor or too much motor tonight?
No, it's just I don't understand the rules. That I think that's the problem.
Care to elaborate?
Well, I don't know. You know, usually, you know, you get a lap in, they leave the lineup like it is. But I think we ran a little over a lap, and they moved me back. But like I said, I don't understand the rules.
Sammy, of course, alluding to that restart. Jeff, what do you think? Has he got a point?
Well, he's got a point, but it was a very close call. I was watching Sammy when he came under the checkered flag stand, and when he did hit the flag stand, the flagman released the flag almost simultaneously when Sammy crossed the stand for the 1 lap in the record book.
Which meant the scorers would have seen the yellow flag. Sammy would not have.
Well, but if one car makes 1 lap, then you go to the next lap. Then he would be leading the race. So it was a very marginal call there. I don't blame him for being mad about it, because he did get such a tremendous start, and he would have been in the front of the pack. But
no, but it's a tough judgment call.
Right,
Somebody has to make those. So
Exactly. It was very close. You can't blame that on either side.
No, and with calls like that, somebody is not going to be happy no matter which way it goes. I think the fans here are happy as they stream into the pit area to meet their favorite drivers because they've seen a great day of midget racing. Paige Jones picking up the win and a great night of sprint car racing here live on TNN. Steve Kinser finally getting his win and getting to go to victory lane. Once again, Kinser, Swindell, Haudenschild, Herrera, and Lasowski, the top 5. Stevie Smith, Craig Keel, Greg Hodnett, Jerry Stone, and Gary Lee Meyer, the top 10. Communication.